Hi, 7th graders, and welcome to Monday, December the 7th. We are cranking right through December, and I'm sure you're getting excited because there's only a couple weeks left until break. Today, we are going to be looking at perfect verb tenses. Now, in the past, you've learned that there are 3 tenses for verbs. There's past, present, and future. However, in the English world, there are actually 6 tenses, and we are going to learn about the other 3. And let's get started by looking at our gray box. Now, our perfect tenses are formed when we use the third principal part. Remember, we did that lesson a couple lessons back. And it is used with a form of have. The present perfect tense is used with have or has. The past perfect tense is used with had. That would make sense. And in the future perfect, you will be using will have or shall have. So your clue words are have and has, had, will have, or shall have. And this shows a completed action. And it can even look like the action is still going on. All right, so let's begin with present perfect. And if you haven't already gotten your book out, go ahead and turn to page 172. We're going to quickly be over in 173 though. And the best way to learn these is to actually look at examples and you'll be able to see what I'm talking about. So we're talking about present. So present, and then we have the word perfect. It's a completed action. So if you think perfect, something is completed. You see a lot of this language when you kind of have something that went on for a long time and then is completed, but you'll see through some of the examples what we're talking about. So here's example number 1. I have glorified thee on the earth. Now, Christ could have said, I glorified thee on the earth, and that would be past tense. However, by adding the have, I have glorified, it means that it is happening still, but it is also part of past. So he has glorified in the past, but he's still doing it. I have glorified. Looks like it's past, but because of the word have, it kind of jumps it right into the present. The action is completed, but is present tense. Let's look at another one. The Lord has spoken to mankind through his Son. Now, we could have said the Lord spoke to mankind through his Son. That would have meant completely past tense. However, through the Word of God, there is a continual speaking and the Lord's presence there. So the Lord has spoken to mankind. It's something that is still going on. It's still present tense. So has and have are the words that you're going to see with present perfect. So think about being a detective. Look for these clue words. If you see that, you most likely have a perfect tense. All right, now let's talk about past perfect. Simon had bewitched the people before Philip brought the gospel. So we're looking for the clue word had, and right there it is. Simon had bewitched. That means that this is a past perfect tense. The word had is the clue to the past perfect, so remember that. Write that in your notes. You might even want to make a little flashcard with all these on there. And then future perfect tense, not only will we have, or this should be, have, but you will have shall or will with it. Shall and will are used, you've got specific ways you have to use them. So first person uses shall, second and third person will use will. So let's look at the sentences. With tomorrow's picking, we shall have picked strawberries 4 times. So we have the word shall, and we have, and then we have the verb picked. The words shall or will with have mean that you have a future perfect tense that means by the time this time tomorrow, it will all be completed. So now that you know the clue words that you are supposed to be looking for, let's take a look at how we use these. So here is perfect tenses. Present perfect tense, past perfect tense, future perfect tense, just like the conjugation charts we saw for past, present, and future. So here we have the word have, kind of mingled all through those. I have heard, you have heard, he has heard, we have heard, you have heard, they have heard. Now, to make it past perfect, of course we would change it to had. That makes sense. I had heard, you had heard, he had heard, we had heard, you had heard, they had heard. And then finally, the future. Remember, we're going to add shall and will to that. I shall have heard, we shall have heard. Those are the first person. But then as soon as we switch to second and third, we're going to use will. You will have heard, you will have heard again for plural. He will have heard, they will have heard. Okay, let's do a little bit of class practice. So the way we're going to do these, I'd like for you to write them down. And if you bring them in, I will promise to have some more candy with me or something, some other treat. We'll see what I can find. Go through. You don't have to rewrite the sentences. What you need to do is write what the verb is and then whether it is past, present, or future perfect. Okay. The first one, before Isaac was born, the Lord had appeared to Abraham several times. So write the whole verb, the clue word plus the verb, and then decide whether it's past, present, or future perfect. And I'll give you a couple of seconds, and then I will reveal the answer on the next slide. Okay, if you underlined had appeared, or wrote it out, that was correct. And indeed, it is past perfect. Okay, let's take a look at the next one. By the end of this term, Sister Mildred will have taught here for the 5 years. So find your verb, complete verb, and then tell me past, present, or future perfect. I'll give you a couple of seconds, and we will then reveal the answer. Okay, hopefully you have identified will have taught and future. Remember, the will and the shall is going to give it away. It's future. All right, the next one. Had you forgotten about your chores this morning? I want you to find the complete verb and then tell me whether it's the past, present, or future perfect. I'll give you a couple of seconds and then I will reveal the answer. And you needed had forgotten. And so don't forget both of those parts, even though it's been interrupted by another word. And if you guessed past perfect, you were right. We have had plenty of rain this spring. Again, find your verb and identify past, present, or future perfect. I'll give you a couple of seconds. And yes, we had plenty of rain this spring. Yes, we've had plenty of rain these last couple of weeks. Okay, so hopefully you underline have and had. Now, you're probably wondering, why do I need have and had? Well, which one is the verb? Had is the actual verb. But then when you add the word have to it, that's what makes it perfect. So we have had plenty of rain this spring, and it's going to make it present perfect. Remember, have is present. Okay, God has never failed to care for his own. So find your verb there, and then we will reveal the answer. Oh, and also tell me past, present, or future. Okay, that one is has failed. Do not include never in there. Remember, it's an adverb. We don't want to put the never, not, ever. We don't want to put any of those in. And if you guessed present perfect, then you are right. All right. And it looks like I've already given you the answer to this one. Will you have finished the letter before the mail goes? And hopefully you would have already known this and you would have underlined will or wrote it out and have finished. And because of the will or shall, it is future perfect. All right, now I want you to move on to the next part of the class practice, and we will often see homework like this where you have all 6 tenses. And so what you need to do is look at class practice B, and there are 8 questions there. I want you to find the verb and then tell me whether it is past, present, future, or present perfect, future perfect, or past perfect. So I'm going to give you a few minutes to do that. You can hit pause on the video and complete those 8 for class practice. Remember, if you bring all that in, it is something extra. I will either give you extra credit points, I'll give you some candy, I will give you some kind of coupons. So remember, you never quite know what you're going to get with me. But hit pause and complete that and then come back. Okay, and here's the answers. From number 1, Charlotte washed, plain past tense. Number 2, what have you done is present perfect because we have done. What had you done before lunch? Had done is past perfect. Number 4, what will you have done by 3 p.m.? Yeah, that's right, 3 p.m. Will have done is future perfect. Number 5, these peaches look delicious. Look is just present tense. Shall we buy a bushel of them? Shall buy. And you do not have or has in here. So it is just simply future. Some friends have helped with the extra work. Have helped is present perfect. And number 8, God will surely reward them for their kindness. Will reward is future. So if you go back and look at our perfect tenses, here's have, here's another have, here's had, and here's another have. So remember, our perfect tenses are going to have, has, or had. Okay, that's all I have for you. I will see you on Wednesday and have a lovely Monday and Tuesday.